Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Hope you had a great break. Welcome back. We're starting at week 10 this week. This is in everybody's way. We want to move that out of the way. So we are picking back up. So just by way of friendly reminder and refresher, we started looking at the specific sections, Project 2, before the break, right? Um, so I had these overview videos for introduction, profile, controversies, and talking about those specific sections. I also provided you with the Project 2 outline as well as the Project 2 sample paper, which I have pulled up here. We're going to look at again. So we had a break last week, right? And so now we're going to pick up the next section. So I'm just basically kind of going down the sections from the assignment description, right, for Project 2. And so the next section is communication practices, all right, and the advice section, and then finally our conclusion. And these are the questions kind of just loosely taken from the actual assignment description itself. Videos coming soon, this almost there. So I got the Project 2 outline and I got the sample paper. So I wanted to bring up the sample paper and I wanted to make sure that everybody was, that it was clear, let me move this out of the way, that these videos here are additional videos that I put links on here from videos that I cut last semester, or I think it would actually be winter of 2022, okay? So there are additional videos here covering this specific example, okay, that I'm posting as well. You can link to them, okay, by clicking on that right there, and it will bring up. So this is the one. So it was winter 2022. There's that. Okay, and then there is the winter 2022 advice and conclusion video. So I'm going to post those so you have several different resources. I think these here, again, for Project 2, these during that time last year, I had an opportunity to really go into great detail, and I think I'm not sure I could do any better than those, but I like to post things that are fresh instead of just reusing a bunch of stuff. So this week we're going to so this one here, this video covers controversies and communication. And so the thing I want to note here, we're really talking about the specifics of communication practices that this particular student goes in, legal documents specifically, email, and then she says, okay, it's the legal brief, right, is one in particular, which I know that we kind of talked about last week. And then I want you to also notice here how she goes into really good detail about persuasive writing. And in this case, obviously we've just learned about logos, pathos, and ethos. So she did really good, was really creative, and really kind of expanded her creative thinking as well as her analysis of what was taking place with these communications, right? And particularly for an attorney or for a lawyer, how logos and ethos applied. And then we've got the appendix here, okay? And then she also goes into a discovery document. So the thing to note here, she's talking about legal documents and email, and she kind of picks up, because I'll say email is kind of generic. Everybody uses email today, but while that's true, right, her examples are very, very specific in legal documents. We've got the legal brief, and then she's got the discovery document, okay? And again, she goes into really good detail of what it's used for, how it's used, how communication takes place. And then the example in Appendix B right there. And so if we scroll down, so after the work cited, okay, so we have Appendix A, right? So here she has, she reached out to, I believe, this attorney. And so in this legal brief, it's to, from, what it's regarding, all right? And then, of course, she's got the specific, all brought in here. And, of course, she references that as well as she moves into the full, all the different sections of that. And then, of course, there's Appendix B, if I remember correctly from last time we talked, had difficulty making it in. So we've got lots of question marks here because because Google doesn't like it, apparently. All right. So, but they are, so you would do something similarly, obviously, right? When the first time that you submit it or that it comes in, obviously it would be there. But there's just the thing to note more specifically is that Appendix A and Appendix B come after your works cited page. So as you're completing and putting this together, so whatever your two writing samples are that you're talking about very specifically in your communication practices section, you are going to reference two types of communication, right? In this case, it was the legal brief and the discovery document, right? So in your case, it'll be the Appendix A and whatever Appendix A and Appendix B are, those what would go in there, and then you would reference those. So someone could then, after reading about, right, in this case, about reading about the legal brief, I could see an example of a legal brief. And then I can also look down, theoretically in this case, the discovery document, okay? So that is what's crucial if I'm talking about the most kind of, I don't want to say the most crucial, but in a way, probably the most crucial part or aspect of this assignment is the communication practices and these two examples that you bring in so that they can see that. And of course, you'll have access to this video. But now, after everything that you've learned, right, you've researched everything about preparation, right, working conditions, what it takes to get into this job, the current controversies in the field, right? Obviously, in your introduction, you write some sort of background about this field, right, or your passion, as we've called it too, right? You've talked about the communication practices now, right? You've given two examples of how they communicate. Now, what kind of advice, right? Is there anything, what have you learned, right? Someone else who's reading this, right, they're considering something, going into, in this case, right, the law field. And so she said, it is imperative that lawyers have the ability to prepare legal documents, right, rhetorical appeals and things like that she's learned, bring it back into a kind of a form of communication kind of idea, which is really, really good, very strong. And then kind of, I don't want to say a generic, but always kind of think about the so what. Essentially, skills such as being able to analyze significant amounts of legal data, as well as being able to research laws to provide clients with accurate information, are necessary within the field of law. So here's the whole thing, right? Through controversies and communication practices, you kind of got to have this skill, right? And this is a way to be thinking about it. And then, of course, all of their works cited in alphabetical order. All right, so that's what we're doing this week, okay? So I'll put the links into these other ones here, right, that I just showed you. So you'll have those. You've got the Project 2 outline sample, watch the videos, read the readings, which is just basically we're just focusing in and honing in on completing Project 2 this week, okay? That's kind of our where we want to kind of be, because technically, right, it's not due till next week, but we're going to start talking about putting our website and our e-portfolios together. So I didn't want to inundate you this week, but provide you with the information that you needed to be thinking about, right? Wrapping up Project 2 this week and next week. We'll talk briefly. We'll start thinking about website portfolios and, of course, anything that you need finalized for Project 2. So finally, just real quick, I have finished everything, all of the rhetorical analyses that were submitted. Okay, I have graded. All right, so those are done. Now, for those of you who perhaps want to take advantage of the opportunity to revise and resubmit, I will be reaching out to you this week and putting you in contact with our embedded writing specialist for our course. Right. So if you would like to pursue that, revise and resubmit, they'll have you meet with them, right, at their convenience, and then you guys can go over a few things, and then you can revise and resubmit, just like you can revise and resubmit anything in the course. If you're going to do that, we'd like to just ask that you meet with your embedded writing specialist, and then we'll go from there. All right, guys, that does it for me. Get you going through the week. If there's anything else I can do, please do not hesitate